I don't know.
It's pretty ugly.
I don't know if he's gonna go with me.
Yeah, my boy. Yeah, so I went on the roof center. Oh shit, it's going right by us.
Yeah.
And I called my neighbor.
One final trip.
How bad is it? He said, "Oh, it's not bad."
I know what this is gonna say.
I took opium and cut trees for
Okay, so there you go. Good to see you, thank you.
Absolutely. She's on the
Oh, I think I know who you're talking about.
A little better.
Yeah.
Are you ready? Ready? Okay. Call this meeting to order. We'll start with the pledge of allegiance, please. I pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Move on to roll call. Trustee Howdy-Shell.
Present.
Trustee Monzel.
Present.
Trustee Long. Attorney Schobert. President Lexi here. Clerk Ford.
Here.
Trustee Goodman.
Here.
Trustee Con.
Here.
And Trustee Lewandowski. Move along to public comments. Any public comments? Stand up, state your name and address. Try and keep it to about 2 minutes. If there are no public comments, we'll move on to reports. Item 3A, Fire Department Monthly Report. Chief, good evening.
Good evening. So we had 9 total calls for the month. Pretty slow month, actually. We started a new hire with the department, Angelo Bertani. He is certified firefighter enrolled in EMT class. Angelo is also a village resident and lives close to the fire station. We continue to take applications. Anyone interested in joining can email us through our Facebook page. We're continuing to work on purchasing supplies and equipment from the Flex grant. The AEDs for the fire department have come in, and we will be assigning them to our departments, and we'll be holding a CPR class in the near future for village staff. On March 9th, we had our community CPR class. It was very well attended. We'll be trying to have another one in the next few months. We've been meeting with Celebrations Committee to prepare for this year's Rumble by the River. We, at this time, it appears we'll have 18 staff on hand both days, and then staff up here at the station for events in the community. So I hope it stays that we have 18, but right now that's what's committed, so.
Excellent.
Do you have an idea how much you spent out of your flex and how much is left?
I don't know. Jamie's got all the numbers. He was gonna come down because some stuff just came in that we got billed for this last week now.
Okay,
So, yeah,
okay.
yeah.
Thanks.
So, all right.
Any questions? Thanks, Chief.
Thank you.
Item 3B, Library Monthly Report. You have Carla's report in your packet. Any questions on Carla's report? Move along to 3C, Police Department Monthly Report. Meeting with Chief.
I hadn't adjusted.
Good evening, reports are in front of you.
Okay.
You read through as I go through here. If you have any questions, let me know at the end. 1 adult arrest. Pull this really fast up so I can see it. 78 traffic stops, 73 traffic citations, 336 total calls, 144 business house checks, extra patrols, 6 accidents, responded with the fire department with 5 of their calls. Narratives are in there, you can take a look at them. Salvage vehicle inspections, there's 26 for the month, that gives us 81 for a year. That program continues to grow, which is awesome. The revenue we've generated for the next line down there. Only 1 hour assists other agencies, which is very odd for us with Waukesha and the surrounding community. National Night Out will be August 10th, from 5 to 8 p.m. And anyone can volunteer and help out, let me know. For citations, I know it comes up sometimes about Edgewood Avenue and 164 in Artesian. Of those 73 citations, 16 are on Edgewood, and 27 are on 164 in Artesian of the 73.
Chief, what was the second number there? It was 16 on Edgewood and
16 on Edgewood, 27 on Artesian, 164. And then I say I want a registration for my IACP conference in October, which is at the Wisconsin Cheese Conference, so it'll save us $500.
Nice.
So, not wrong with that. Questions, comments, concerns? Thank you very much.
Thank you, Chief. Item 3D, President's Report. No report, but I'd like to congratulate the newly elected trustees, Josh Grover, Mike, Larry Long, Jeff Goodman as president,
Yeah,
and Ellen, yeah, I couldn't remember, sorry.
that's why you take a break.
And I guess congratulations to Mike on getting out of
Retired.
business and enjoying retirement.
Luckiest guy in the room.
Many years.
30 years? Thanks for the help. Good job. Yeah.
Appreciate all your work. We'll move along to 3E, Public Works Department. Eric,
Good evening.
good evening.
I want to say thanks to Mike Hahn. He's been on Public Works, served us awesome, big part of your life and served this community. Thank you.
Not much lately, but.
Thank you. Appreciate it. Warren, I know you've been up against challenges too. Thanks for being the president.
Cool.
I want to make sure I wish everybody happy Easter too, because that's coming up and I'll probably forget to get this. So one of the things we did is we put everything on the auction site and everything sold. Well, except 2 things didn't sell. We had a guy that did pay. We did extremely well. Checks are being sent out today to the clerk, so they'll see that sometime next week. We replaced the storm sewer grate flange that was broke over on Edgewood Court. We completed all the LED lighting in the village hall, so there's no more up here that's got to be done. It's including the fire bay and fire chief's office back in the back. We did some pothole patching. I attended a FEMA webinar on substantial improvement, substantial damage from flooding, which you can't do. Also did an in-person seminar at Rupert Milky, proactive approach to flood management. We placed our 2023-24 salt order. I went 10 tons over what I did last year, obviously for the new road we have over off of 2 new roads we have, Oak Ridge and River Birch Court. Still think we're in great shape. We took the last 40 tons of salt that we could from the state because next year they're rebidding this. And we don't know where it's going to be with prices the way they are and stuff like that. I don't know. We installed 275 feet of electric wire underground, put it back to the shed in the back for the vaulting. And we had a water softener installed in the DPW because the staining was just getting out of control. And I will tell you that since that's been installed, we washed equipment and the toilets and everything else are clean. There's no rust or anything, so it's a great investment. One of the last things here, the village jet said, I hope we put this thing to rest. I know myself and the attorney and Jeff and a couple other people have been banging on this to get this thing done. Finally, they're going to put it in, I believe, I sent her get out something on the 11th is the supposed day when they're going to put that switch in. I'm trying to get them to do that the 11th, and then we're hoping to have that thing set and mounted so that we can do the test on it right away. It depends on their time, as I was told this afternoon. We've been out 6 times plowing and salting, and We've got, so does town of Vernon, or village of Vernon, we've got some people that run over signs, we've got some signs that are sitting down by us, we've got 4 of them now from the county that were demolished on 164, and I think the town, village has some other ones there, so we've got somebody that's driving over signs. One's for us on Clark Street from the county, it's cost the county money, doesn't come on our budget, but it's still not a good thing to have. Any questions or comments? Good?
No, thank you.
All right, have a good Easter.
Appreciate it. You too. Any report from professional services?
Thank you.
Excellent. Move along to item 4, consideration and approval of minutes from the March 2nd, 2023 meeting.
Under number 1, the pledge of allegiance is excused.
Somebody has to make a motion to dispense.
I'll make a motion to dispense reading.
I'll second.
Any further discussion?
Got that.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Okay, carry on.
Got that one. Thank you.
Got it?
Yes.
Thank you. That was the one that was
And-
excused.
yeah.
Make a motion to approve the minutes as amended.
I'll second.
Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Item 5, approval of bills. Discussion, consideration, and approval of bills in the amount of $114,282.35.
I'll make a motion to approve the bills, that amount.
I'll second it.
Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Who that amount? Thank you.
Hmm?
The amount. What's the amount?
114. You got it?
Yep. Thank you.
Okay. Item 6, old business, discussion, consideration, and approval of termination of Harvest View subdivision subdividers agreement of 2008 with Town Realty. Any update?
Well, update, nothing's happening. I think everybody recalls this is a situation where it's been approved back in the mid-2000s, and the economic conditions changed, they didn't go forward. And now I think it's up in the air as to what that site's going to be used for in the future. So nobody seems to be in any hurry to get it resolved. It's in their best interest to get it resolved. They can't use it really for anything until they get this resolved. Neither I nor town's council had ever seen this situation before where a plat had to be reversed. The developer's agreement's not an issue. That could just be an agreement that we signed and it's taken off the record. Town did check with Wisconsin Title, I think it was, and they had a way that they would approve where the plat could be undone and involved a certified survey and some other steps. Since that time, really nothing's happened. I'll get after them again, see if we can get it to move along, but there's no harm in it, it should get straightened out at some point.
Okay, thank you.
So we're not carrying any kind of liability at this point as a village?
No.
So I'll entertain a motion to table this until
I think last time we just did no action.
no action? All right, that's fine too. Item 6B, discussion, consideration, and approval of Chapter 5 open burning. Anybody have an update on that?
I have nothing from safety month.
Okay,
I think that was bumped to police and fire to recommendation, I think the board was asked for their, looking into ways to enforce the ordinance that is on the books. We're not even putting it on our agenda at this time. We moved on to looking at another ordinance update that's been brought to our attention for sex offenders, and we're working with the Lions Club to get some parking approvals for them.
okay, very good.
And
So that'll be on a police and fire commission agenda coming up, I'm assuming?
I just had a question for Mike and probably safety. No discussion about, you're just gonna hold off on everything for now, on that burning?
That was kind of what my take was from the board meeting that we tabled it from, was that it was looking for police and fire to come back and inform us how they're going to enforce the ordinance that's in
I
place.
guess I thought we sent it back to public safety to come back or something.
That was my understanding.
Yeah.
We can put it back on the agenda there and start talking about it again. I guess I'd like some input from everybody then as to what they'd like to see done.
I'll give you my personal input is, I would like to see us go with the DNR, what they propose. And of course, they allow the 4x4 and, to follow that guideline and just say with no exceptions. I think that was one of the sticking points is we had a lot of it, exceptions granted by the fire inspector. And I think that was one of the sticking points. And I guess I would like to see us follow the DNR. They've got pretty good rules set. But the big question that I thought was the exceptions where they could have pretty much any size fire.
I'd have to go back and look at the ordinance, but I think the ordinance already references the state statute that requires that. But I'll go back and take a look at the ordinance again.
But didn't we leave it wide open to where they could, if the fire inspector said they could have any size, they could get an exception?
Yeah, and part of, not to cut you off,
No, it's
go ahead. I think that the way that we left it is not necessarily that we were looking for consultation from the police and fire commission, but from the police and fire departments. And part of that was how they could control things like just rubber stamping whatever size anybody wants to burn, even though that there is stated sizes that are out there. Part of it was just consultation back to see how they would enforce the law, whether the new one or the old one or something in between was to be passed. And I don't think the public safety ever got any comments back. But I would encourage public safety to take another look and see if there's some way that we can take what rules we have and try to get them to a place where it would be beneficial for all users, but at the same time, make it more enforceable, or find an enforcement pathway so that we know that we have at least control over what's on the books.
Well, don't we have an enforceable ordinance there now? It just needs,
Well, we do, but it didn't seem like anybody was too much in favor of enforcing it.
well,
And especially if you're just writing an open permit that says you have an open permit, burn whenever, whatever, and
I
whatever
think,
size you want.
There's no documentation for like the exceptions, you didn't say.
Yeah.
I think that's what we need to do is just look at, no exceptions. We hit a happy medium there, I think, by letting the industrial people burn, but stick to the 4x4 and not have these huge fires. As far as enforcement, I would think it would be a no-brainer for the police and fire just to enforce what's on the books,
Yeah.
I mean, they shouldn't have to come up with anything brand new to say whatever. I mean, if it is what it is, they should do it.
Well, and then, since we know that there's quite a few industrial places that are burning, there has only been a handful of permits that's been given out, and one of my concerns is that the fire department especially doesn't even know who's burning and who's not at any given time or in any given location, so they're not properly prepared if there is an incident. So we do have inspections, but the inspections don't pick up any outside burning areas or anything like that. By what I could garner with the information that we received from the fire department, that they go in and they do their inspections, but it's all building, interior, exterior of the building, but nothing with the property to take a look at the burn pile that might be in the back 40. We need a pathway to be able to control that. There's certain aspects of it that just simply need to have more controllability so that we can anticipate from, if you want to take a shot at it from an emergency management standpoint, of being prepared for what could potentially happen. It could be as simple as adding that to the roster of things that the inspector needs to look at. But I don't even know what the inspector duties say or state, or if that's something, and it was one of the things that we tasked back to the fire department to kind of bring that forth to us. I don't think that you guys have commented back on it though. At least I haven't seen anything.
As far as what was that, Tony?
For like during inspections, how to inspect the property to know that there's a burning going on, and even to the fact of the inspector saying, hey, do you have a permit for that? Not necessarily to get them into trouble, but to encourage them to get the permit, so the fire department's well aware of all the different establishments, the industrial locations and businesses that are burning. Right now, you guys don't have any of that. There's only been 2 to 3 permits given out each year to the same places, but yet we've got probably 50% or better of all businesses in this village burning.
Yeah, the only ones that I know are the 3 or 4, like you said, that burn on a regular basis.
I know it's not part of the normal inspection list.
Yeah.
It would just be an ask that we would have to ask
Right.
the
I
inspector
mean,
to check while he's at a business that would
Just-
be known for burning.
To me, I would assume that that would be part of the normal checklist, but if it's not, I would encourage it to happen. But that's the type of things we need to take a look at. If we had what public safety came up with and what we currently have, there's room in the middle to try to reach some sort of a compromise to try to make everybody happy, so we're not upsetting everything. But this village, as it continues to grow, gets more compact between businesses and village residents and where people are building. And I know that there's been a lot of rhetoric going back and forth with that, but it is what it is. We have businesses, industrial locations, and housing that are right next to each other, and we have to be able to try to control things that could get out of control very quickly. And that's what my encouragement is, to not abandon this, but to go back and try to find a pathway to where we can improve what we've got, and especially the control of it. I'm not looking to become, what did I get called the other day, a tyrant. I'm not trying to be a tyrant on top of this, but I want to make sure that we have control, because fires can get out of control very quickly, especially with the winds that we get through this area. It's been seen time and time again with brush fires and with other things where a fire that's not, properly handled, not properly watched and made sure that it's 100% out, can refire during the weekend, can be refire during the night. Wind picks up and that's going to carry embers over and start setting things on fire. It's just causability. We need to have at least some type of a control mechanism so we can try to avoid that, especially as we start to continue to get growth both on business and with residential. That's my 2 cents into it.
I agree with you there, and I think, just the idea of, the fire department having some kind of notification that there is a fire going to be set. I don't know if you really need to say, okay, I'm gonna burn some paper in my barrel, but if you're gonna have a 4x4 fire, have the fire department notified.
They normally notify us, or they're supposed to. Elena or whoever's in the office usually forwards that on to me.
Now, they're required to get a permit at 4x4?
No, they,
Bigger than 4x4.
Oh, bigger than 4x4.
yeah. But they can burn, but a lot of places call me regardless that they're gonna be burning leaves in their backyard or whatever, branches. They will call Village Hall and let them know.
And I think that's probably more Vernon doing that than us, anyway, isn't it? As far as leaves in the backyard? Do we have many of those?
I mean, they make more smoke.
They do make more stuff. And that's another point of mine is, we patrol this thing pretty well with the police department. Where there's fire, there's smoke, so obviously we're gonna know where the fires get burning, I would think.
Well, we kind of do and we kind of don't. I mean, even a couple of businesses that came forth to say, you know, that, hey, we burn and this is going to detriment our business to disallow us profitability. At least one of those we discovered for the very first time that they burn and quite regularly in quite large area outside of their business.
And didn't have a permit.
So
Or
it's not
business
to,
license,
it's not
or
to knock,
business license.
it's not to knock what they're doing. It's more so to just observe the fact that we do not have control on everywhere that burning is occurring.
Yeah, and, you know, I think we found that, you know, some businesses were burning recyclable material, particularly cardboard, and we do take and have a free recycling area for those folks.
I mean, there's plenty of ways to improve what we have without a complete ban, which I don't think that, you know, judging by the feedback that we've gotten is not necessarily the end-all solution to it. But I would encourage us, combination of police and fire, giving feedback to public safety, and public safety to go ahead and devise a pathway forward with this. I mean, I don't want to put words into public safety's mouth. You guys did come across and put a lot of work into the plan that you have, and I don't think that all that work should be abandoned.
Right.
It was a unanimous vote from public safety to bring it forward to the village board. And then there was a lot of debate, and there was, you know, feedback from businesses and also from citizens of Big Bend, and it's, I would encourage us to go take a second look at this and see what we can do.
Well said on this, we're just gonna kick it back down to public safety and have them work with the two chiefs.
If you guys, I mean, that's, I wanna make sure.
So I'm asking, is that what everybody wants?
Yeah, because then we can filter through and switch up some information to pertain to specific no more exemptions, et cetera. So it's in the writing of the ordinance instead of just having an exception, because that's not in there.
Well, even if there was some kind of exception, you gotta put some kind of size or,
The size is in
You
there.
have a size 4x4, you could burn
But if-
without a permit. Anything over that, you're supposed to pull a permit.
but if you had an exception, I mean, there's nothing stated I can't have a fire as big as this building. You know, I mean, maybe we can say the exception is, okay, just as an example. Not a 4x4, but maybe you can have a 6x6 or a 10x10 if you're allowed to have one. You know, and not just sign off and say, oh yeah, you can get a permit and have one as big as you want. That's where I think it gets scary, doesn't it, Tony, is if you have huge and it's out of control. And do we have something in there that says you have to have some kind of hose there, some kind of?
That's what the fire inspector does when he goes out and looks at these bigger piles, makes sure that everything's safe, gives them advice on, you know, having a bulldozer there, having water there, having whatever.
Does he
And
find?
unfortunately, Chief, we asked you for records of, sorry about that, we asked for records of those types of inspections, and I believe that you're not able to provide them because our fire inspector does not go out every time somebody calls prior to them burning.
He knows what they're burning when they pull a permit. He goes out there and inspects the area where they're gonna be burning.
The 2 permits I pulled for Guthrie Estates, Bill came out and both times he says, we'll break the piles down, don't try to burn it all at once.
Okay.
And we break it down into a smaller pile.
So yeah, he gives them advice on what they should do.
Yes.
And go
Does
from
he-
there. We've never had a problem with that.
Does he follow up with the day that they're burning, just to see if, what his advice, it's been followed at all?
Once in a while, I think when he's going through, but not every time. Yeah, not every time.
I think that would be a good idea to,
Because they have to wait for the wind to be just right, they have to wait for conditions to be just right to burn. So,
it's one phone call to say, you know what, it's good day today, we're gonna do it.
yeah, and most of the time they will call Village Hall, like I said, and advise Village Hall that they're gonna burn. But,
And I think that's kind of what Tony's looking for too, is just some kind of check and balance on this to make sure that we're, and probably Mike too, is, you know, we want to come to something that's a good agreement and a good ordinance, but yet we can make sure it's gonna be okay.
All right,
I'm done.
so that's moving back to public safety. We'll move along to item 6AA. Discussion, consideration, and approval of modifying section 4, sub DE, soil testing in Ripple Brook East Developers Agreement. Update. Who has that update?
I thought we approved that.
That's what I read in the minutes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Superfluous line item. That's why it's A again, huh? Alright. Moving along, item 7, new business, premium pay approval, ARPA. I've been working with Laura on this, for about a year. Finally came to fruition. We had some money left in our ARPA fund from COVID. And we wanted to show some thanks to our employees. So what you have in front of you is a couple of spreadsheets showing how we'd like to break down some of this money and give it to the people that worked during COVID. The way we kind of decided to do it was based on the amount of hours each person worked. And she tried color coding it. Basically what you have is all full-time employees, the 80 hours a year, will end up getting $750, and then from, I think it's 2,000 to full-time, or anything over 1,000 it is $625. And from, you go from 500 to $999 is, anything over 400 is $500. And then less than 400 hours in a year, you get $250. And then she had to get kind of creative with the fire department because they're paid per call, so she tried to average out their hours, and that's on the second sheet. Color coded to match the dollar amounts on the first sheet aren't there. Or aren't color coded, but they go in order. The yellow would be 125, green 100, brown or whatever that color is 75, the blue is 50, the white is 25, and the bottom color there is 1250. 1250 sounds kind of small, but it's over a third of what their annual pay was at here. Still leaves some money in our ARPA account to spend. I think we have until June 30th to spend that money. But we thought this would be a good way to pay back all the people who helped us get through this last 2 years.
June 30's coming up quick.
Yeah.
We did approve this in finance and send it up to the board. Unless there's any discussion, I'd like to make a motion to approve this and thank those people that helped us out.
I'll second.
Any further discussion? I will say that these will be paid as committee and commission checks, so they won't be taxed. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? carries. Item 8, any correspondence? Outstanding. Back to public comments. Any public comments? If there are no public comments, Mr. Khan,
I'll make a motion to adjourn for the last time.
thank you very much, sir.
I'll second
Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? We are adjourned.
Mike, Warren, thank you guys.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
Josh, welcome to the table.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Take it easy.
This afternoon.
Pleasure working with you. Maybe again